today we got to talk to Tom Hoffert, who is the CEO of the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. Love talking to Tom. He's so passionate about the Salem community, about creating community, about communicating, about leadership, and really about what's driving the issues here in Salem. So thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Tom Hoffert, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here.
Let's do this.
Oh, man.
Oh,
AJ,
you really
you're
have
here.
as excited as me. Oh, God.
I feel like there's some energy here. I know talking to Tom before the podcast that you guys go way, way back. And, we were talking a little bit about, was it Chamber of Commerce, some of AJ's involvement. You're obviously the CEO of Salem Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, this was during my first stint at the Salem Chamber. When I wasn't the CEO, I was in public affairs director. But one of the great groups I got to lead was our Salem Young Professionals group, Salem Young Pros, which has now evolved in Salem Emerging Leaders. But after my time as the chair of that group, this young man came through, and AJ's energy is just ridiculous. And we were kind of, now it was one of those where you kind of patting yourself on the back. Yeah, we got like up to 150 members, and we were feeling like, wow, that's a ton of people. By the end of AJ's year, 600 members in that group.
So he 4X'd the membership.
All I did was throw parties until they told me to stop throwing them. But you know what? We threw parties.
Surprise. I'm seeing a common theme here.
Got AJ into an interesting space with some of our leadership. And
because he was having too much fun?
He was in their mind throwing the brand a little towards we are more of a social club than a building up of young leaders club.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe that to be factually true. And I was very close to it then. You know, you hand off something, and now I was still on the board kind of providing my little 2 cents. But I'm a pretty big believer is once you have a new chair, let them green light, let them go, and then be their backup and support them. So AJ starts throwing largely evening, some morning and maybe an afternoon event sprinkled in, but an evening event. What are people looking for in 20s and 30s? Something they want to build community. AJ properly identified, well, throw a little bit of a get together and people are going to start coming. Many of them don't have kind of their young families, and if they're just starting out, they need a little bit of let's get away for a little bit. And so AJ just
Let me give you a couple of the highlights. The community came together and built a 9-hole mini golf course. We threw yes.
Does it still exist?
Blake Burrell built a hole. Rich Duncan built a hole. It was like a
So
little
this
competitive.
isn't a new thing. We were talking about building golf courses on top
I
of
still got all
JCPenney.
the putters in my garage. And
the multicolored
and
putters.
then we did the
Those are
great. I went up to the great urban race up in Portland. Had a great time, and we brought the great Salem race here to like teach history and go through it. We had so much fun.
You did.
That was good. That was a good time.
Some really
that was
big
a good
things. And I guess what my takeaway from that is you want to see somebody's trajectory as somebody you're going to invest in later in life. Look at them now. If you see young people, and it's interesting to say young people. And one thing I always remind people, and they're like, well, Tom, why do you really cut off Salem Emerging Leaders at 40? You seem really resolute, and your group doesn't let 41 and 42-year-olds go in. You're right. Imagine what 40 years old of age felt and looked like when we were 20. It looked like, if I make it to 40, and how old that is. So if you stretch that and pervert that line, you're now having 22-year-olds looking at 50-year-olds. Oh, yeah, they're young. You're not a young professional. You're seasoned. And so I think AJ really provided a ramp for that group and took on leadership on challenging him for a few things. And it kind of became my moment where you never bet against AJ Nash because he ended up taking on some pretty powerful leadership in the chamber and coming out on the winning side with his hand held high and people following him. And that group continued to grow after his time at the helm. And that's always an indication of great leadership is when you leave, is it still in a healthy place? Because AJ made sure it was.
Wow.
Nice work, pal.
That's a great start to the podcast. I
I
love
have
that.
many
I
AJ
mean,
stories.
yeah,
Be aware.
we can dive into a lot of those. And I love Tom. One of the things I do love about you is you do a really good job of talking about other people in a really positive way. But I never get to hear a lot about you. So I'm really curious to get into it with you because you are one of the community leaders here in Salem. Obviously, your time with Salem Chamber is been notable. I've seen so many, great events where you've been a part of those, and how you're championing, local businesses and bringing people up. And it's always fun to interact with you and get your takes on things because you don't hold back, and you're always honest about where we're at. So I want to dive back into. I know you grew up in Salem. And I'm kind of curious, what was Salem like when you were growing up?
Yeah, I had an interesting lens. I'm the product of two public school teachers, but both my grandparents were small business owners. Both of my grandfathers, after they served in World War II, one owned an auto parts store, and the other owned a sporting goods store right downtown. In fact, if you go to Taproot and next door, there is the former stationary place was once a place called Bill Beard Sporting Goods, and my grandfather and Bill Beard were equal partners in that business. It was kind of fun reflecting on my childhood, stocking the shelves, underage labor, working for the family business. I remember my grandfather would be upstairs on the second floor, which overlooked the sales floor, and he'd be smoking a heater, and he'd go, "Hey, Tommy, you missed one on rack 3." He knew how many socks would go on each thing. And so incredible environment to grow up seeing two entrepreneurs. But my home life was largely education based and really caring for the community and what teachers do. My mom was in elementary education and my father in high school. And he also was a pretty prolific head baseball coach at South Salem High School. So interesting dynamic growing up in that. I looked at Salem. I was very fortunate to come from parents who were married. Home life was one car. We had our Datsun, and my sister and I would, my parents would share. And I thought Salem was a pretty comfortable place. We did not have, ton of means, but we weren't also on the side of great economic challenges at all times. My dad worked all summer long, multiple jobs, and my mom watched the kids at home during the summer. And for a portion of my life, my mom was able to stay home with my sister and I when we were real young. But I love Salem. We're a very small family, so I just my sister and I, and now 2 nephews, and we had my grandparents in town. So,
and you ended up moving to Colorado Springs for college. I didn't know we had that connection.
Well, I went to out to Monmouth, not far to Western Oregon, but I got to go do an adult degree.
Okay, it was your
later in life.
Okay,
in the Springs.
Oh, okay, that's how you ended up
loved
there.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
So it was really exciting. For 4 consecutive years, I got to fly there and spend a week there and work on some of my credentials to be good in the management space. And loved being in Colorado Springs and the temperatures there, and coming down from Denver, and wild ride, crazy flight. You're probably quick 15-minute flight from Denver into the Springs. Rock and roll. So.
Turbulence is great on that flight. So you went to Monmouth for your undergraduate degree, and what did you get your degree in?
Business management.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be. I started out, actually, interestingly, Nat, I started out going in with an education major. I was kind of going to follow my parents' pathway. And I got through my second year, and I was just like, I got to be honest, this is not for me. And I had this entrepreneurial itch.
What was it? What was it about education that wasn't for you?
I was going through the classes, and I just realized I was really struggling to be into it and see a future where I would be I didn't mind the classroom and the kid interaction. I was just like, the dedication this is going to take to get this degree, and then I knew you kind of have to go on and get a undergrad and a master's degree. My brain was like moving 100 miles an hour, and I was working. I started working ever since I was 16. I wanted to be working, earning money. Second I turned 18, out of the house. Loved my parents. Wanted to get out of the house, explore life, and do it on my own. And I just realized I would be way better suited to be in some sort of business role. Had no idea what that was, but I always kind of knew, hey, I want to work at Nike. I was an ice hockey player, roller hockey player growing up, and I was like, I want to work at Nike. Nike at the time owned Bauer Hockey, and I'm like, I want to work at Nike. So changed majors. Parents were like, oh, great. We lost, basically the first year you can kind of transfer their base credits. But I was into some credits towards my educational degree that were just completely lost.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a 5-year guy now.
Yeah, that happens. It's interesting. Both my parents were in education as well.
Okay.
My mom was an English teacher at community college. My dad actually ran a program that was like teaching foreign language students English as a second language. So I grew up in kind of that same household, but I also had that same entrepreneurial itch, but I went straight into it in college. It was like business for me. I was like, I just kind of knew that was where I wanted to go. And I come from like a family of a lot of so PhDs, right, master's degrees, and I was like, you know what, business sounds more fun, and I don't know what it was, but
You chose accounting.
yeah,
Business,
the language of business is spoken in accounting, right? So I was like, if I can understand that, and it was, oh my gosh, it was hard. That was what I was going to go into. Kind of curious, what degree did you get?
I'm
in
glad there's still
college?
some stuff in this onion. you
I
have not
know.
unpacked.
I'm peeling back some stuff. Well, you don't have a Wikipedia page I can just go to.
I want to get into roller hockey and hockey in a second, but economics. It was my third major.
Okay.
I went in for an engineering degree. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. I was going to play a couple years at Willamette, move on to go to Duke because I'd made the team at Notre Dame. I really wanted to take my soccer to another level.
But you made what team at Notre Dame?
The soccer team.
You made the team?
I made the team at Notre Dame, and I got
Wait. Hold on. Back up. Wait, hold on. So wait, you tried out at Notre Dame for like their Division I soccer program.
Yep.
And you made it.
Yeah, I got an acceptance letter, but I was on that list of like, we're not going to give you're not good enough to get any subsidy.
Yeah. But
So-
you were an enrolled student at this point in time.
No.
Oh,
I
so you
went
just
my
got the-
senior year. I got invited to
Okay.
I got invited to a tryout.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got an offer letter, and the offer letter was like, well, yeah, you just have to give us $55,000 a year, and then you can maybe play by your junior year. Like you're going to be, it was Rudy.
Yeah.
Like you're on the team, but you're probably not going to get real good time till junior, senior. But we liked what you had to bring.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all that, and then I go to Willamette, and I remember that maybe it was my fourth or fifth major, but when I got to that point of wasted credits, I was like, what major can I get done and still do the business degree on time? And they're like, well, econ has the least amount of classes and the most that double up with the math, because I was a math minor. And so I did a 3-2 program. I was a 5-year guy too. I just got a master's degree in that amount of time.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair enough. Okay, I didn't know that about you. Yeah, the onion is it's deep. A lot of layers here. Well,
Let's wait. You can't just let him go over roller hockey.
okay. Yeah, let's
I
go
want to
there.
know,
Okay.
like, I was a roller hockey guy, and I was a hockey guy. When I came out here and met you, you were the only other human on that planet Earth that I ran into later in life that, like,
Sport bonded us, actually, at the start.
Are we talking about like roller blades? Hockey? Like,
roller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we played that growing up too. That was fun.
Oh, and I mean,
it's
I
a
like-
'90s thing.
I had helmets, numbers. We enrolled in tournaments. We did the 3-on-3.
I played full competitive roller hockey tournaments. Like
Yeah.
traveling to Las Vegas
Yeah.
with competitive teams playing roller hockey, not
Yeah.
ice hockey. Now.
Really?
Now later, when I got 16, 17, 18, I got way into ice hockey. But
Yeah.
growing up, it was actually
Yeah.
roller hockey.
Okay.
Salem doesn't have an ice rink.
No.
I know.
But you had a street that you could yell,
The
"Go
street
on!"
in my parents' garage that was smooth, and I just that was fun.
You just bootstrapped it.
What was the goal? Did you use the trash can goal?
Yeah, we used actually the best goal is an old washing machine.
Okay.
Broken washing machine. Open the door and you got that little.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. Well, after college and after it sounds like you went back and forth with to CC for your advanced degree. When did you start getting into Salem? I think Salem Chamber came first, right? Before, like, I know you did Don Poncho for 14 years, but like, how did you get? Like, what made you decide to just jump into that? Was that your first job out of college?
Well, interestingly, I had the opportunity coming out of Western Oregon, entering my senior year. One of the things they were stressing is, You can knock off 6 credits if you do an internship. And the Salem Chamber had an internship.
Oh, that's great.
So I drove from Monmouth in one day, and they said, "Hey, what's your interest in business?" I said, "I just want to be in business someday.
Yep.
Don't know. I'm hoping to get on at Nike coming up in June." And a gentleman named Mike McLaren, pretty instrumental kind of leader in my life, said, "Well, why don't you intern here?" And we did that for 3 months, and then they extended it a second 3 months. And I had gotten my application at Nike, gone through the process through the Nike, the Bauer hockey section. I'm like, sweet, gonna move to Beaverton, work at Nike. And Mike came on one of the days I was at the chamber. He goes, "Hey, how'd you like to work twice as hard for half the amount of money?" And I said, "I don't understand." He goes, "We'd really like to bring you onto staff here at the Salem Chamber. And we're going to have you kind of learn under this guy, Hal Sweet, and learn about a little what membership organizations mean. But we need an advocacy guy. And I really think you're capable. There's nothing we do here that we can't train. We just hire for attitude." I know I still have that to this day, you guys as well.
That's a great line, by the way. Hire for attitude.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I penned a note to Nike, kind of gracefully bowing out of a commitment. And Mike actually helped me write that. And
It didn't have Chat GPT right that.
no, that wasn't around yet. And ended up, I think now part of it is I really wasn't comfortable moving to Portland yet. I kind of lived in a small Salem or in Monmouth for my whole life, and I thought I'm just not ready. So got on with the Salem Chamber, did 7 years there in advocacy, and during that time met somebody who had proved incredibly impactful in my life, George Puentes, who was a president of the Salem Chamber and the owner of the time what was called Puentes Brothers Manufacturing, made tortillas here in Salem. George had lost his son, his only son, to suicide, and George and I became really, really close. And as he was very respectful, but he went to Mike. Don Poncha was really on an upward trajectory, and he went to Mike and he said, "Hey, can I just talk to Tom about an opportunity in our company?" And Mike was so graceful to allow him to come and approach me about that. Something I still to this day, I'm encouraging all of our Salem Chamber employees. I get calls all the time. "Hey, can I talk?" The answer is yes. I want them to have those opportunities and then make the choice of where they want to work. And I think that's good leadership by all of us as business managers and managers of people. So I hopped on there, was there for 14 and a half, almost 15 years, and through incredible growth. When I joined the company, there were $21 million a year company, so big. And when I departed, we were $168 million a year company. So incredible growth nationally and internationally, and what an incredible experience. And then you get the phone call that you kind of don't see coming, and some leaders in our community who you both know called and said, "Hey, Chamber's going through a time of transition. Nick Williams is going to make a change into the real estate world. It's, there's been a little bit of challenges here and again at the Chamber, and we really know that we'd like you to come consider this opportunity." And so I did, and ultimately got offered that position about just coming up on 7 years ago in November, and started January 1st.
7 years.
Of 19, yeah.
Man, time flies.
It's been a fast
Jeez.
7 years coming up. Yeah, I mean, mid-November will be 7 years on the dot since we really made that official. I started January 1st on 2019.
What about, this position intrigued you enough to want to go back to it? What about Salem Chamber that made you think I really want to be a part of this?
Yeah, and one thing to understand, this is not a financial play. I was in an incredible position and still very, very dear friends with the Puentes and Baez family, and Don Poncho will always be my, incredible springboard to a lot of things in life. What the Salem Chamber does is my belief system. So I get to be in a role that I don't just like what a chamber of commerce does. I actually really believe, and that's my belief system, is helping small businesses be successful. People go, hey, you represent, number one, Amazon isn't a member, no shade there or whatnot, but we're not a big business organization yet. We represent Salem small businesses. For me, it all starts with a intellectually honest conversation of what's occurring in a community. It is inhumane for us to allow these humans to be suffering like this, eat day in and day out across the country, but I want to be hyper-focused to Salem. The individuals that I call them our friends and neighbors on the streets, are individuals going through incredible trauma. Many have mental health and drug addiction issues. And categorically, the business community shows day in, day out how much we care about people in need. We fund a number of the nonprofits. There are grant dollars that come to our nonprofits, but I can't think of one business owner who is not at least a participant in some sort of nonprofit effort to help better our city. So we need to start in an intellectually honest place that the people in the business community deeply care about those experiencing this. Is it uncomfortable for businesses to have somebody sleeping in their doorway? Sure, especially we hear this horror stories. I live it. We're right on the Bottle Walk. The Salem Chamber is right just north of downtown, and our alcove is slept under literally every night, both of the two alcoves. So I deal with the same thing our business owners are dealing with, and it is dealt with in an air of humility and care. We are not callous. This is us trying to find solutions for people who may not know how to get the solutions they need in life. And so we have to have the offerings and the intentional coax to work towards those offerings. I am not a huge proponent of allowing and handing needles out and perpetuating something that is killing people. I don't believe in that personally. Our organization is very thoughtful in our approach there on how we talk about difficult issues. And we said a whole loaf of bread or not. I actually think that is the special magic of the Salem Chamber, is the diversity of opinion on how to take care of these very complex issues. But it starts with having an honest conversation about them. And then let's find the metrics to track. If we give here, what is our result? And if we give here, what is our result? And then you look at it after some movement has been made and categorize, hey, where are we getting the best return on investment for the people that need us most? And so I applaud when we very critically look at our investments and see what is going to make the most impact for the people that really can't advocate a lot for themselves due to the immense trauma and issues that they're facing on the street. So I actually have not, the vilification of businesses to ask that their property isn't defecated on and the like. There is some middle ground there we have to be comfortable with, is until we have places where each of these individuals can go each and every day, it is going to be part of our society. My issue is, how are our kids seeing this norm? This is the new norm in the world, is that you're going to have massive homeless populations in large and medium-sized cities because of what is offered there in resources. So it's a fine balance. I don't have a magic answer to it, but I would always wish to collectively bring the business community perspective to the table, and then encourage people to understand there are going to be some very extreme opinions from the business community and some very, health-based and do whatever we can opinions. It's the common sense middle ground that we need to talk to till we start seeing some improvements in our community. And we always wish to be a host and a participant in such conversations.
Along those lines, I'm really curious. We were talking before the show just about how to communicate with a community, right? We're talking about having conversations in safe places, right? Like Jacob Espinoza mentioned on the podcast the other day about bringing people in, two different, perspectives, having a safe place where you can have a conversation without getting into a shouting match, right? Something that's just safe, right? So
Civility for me.
right. And I think to your point, there's a small percentage of folks on this side and smaller percentage of folks on this side who really are the squeaky wheels. They're shouting, they're making a lot of noise, and there's I think a lot of people who are more quiet who would like to be more centrist, right? More, let's compromise, let's figure things out, and let's agree amicably, right? So how do you, in knowing Salem as well as you do, how do you communicate with Salem along those lines to get your point across, like to make people understand, we're not just on one side over here, we're not on one side over here. We're trying to be in the middle. Like, how do you do that day to day?
Well, I think it all, number one, I have an incredible 25-person board of directors team that care so much about this city. Now, they are invested. They're business owners who are invested in this community. So rightfully, they want to see a healthy community. I get a lot of leadership and guidance from those individuals. And my partnership back to them is to be a strategic leader in how we communicate to our community. We don't break character, and we have people who have said some really challenging, nasty things on occasion about us, about me personally. I don't have the ability to not be authentic to who I am. I've had one person, there's a particular character who's really, they're like, have you ever sat down with Tom? I don't know a lot of people who don't get along with the guy. And my thing, Nat, is being authentic, sharing the real stories, not doing anything falsified information. So, when we were talking about the downtown parking situation and the assessment that was still going to be in place with the meters. So I went and just literally walked every block around. And now not every business owner was able to talk with me, but I talked to, it was like 50 plus. And I said, hey, just where do you sit on this? So I can have an educated point of view when I come in front of Kristen, Director Rutherford, and our city staff and the like, and share that perspective. And it needs to be from a place of honesty, fact-based, but most importantly, I wish to be solution-oriented, so I'm coming to the table with a solution-oriented mindset. And we may not agree on all parts of it, but let's focus on the 90% of most things we agree on, and then build little wins off of that, and then we get to 91%, 92%. So I think just some emotional maturity of understanding we're going to have people naturally, when you are representing 45,000 employees, you're going to have different points of view, being respectful of it, digesting it, and then coming up with a message that is focused on a solution. And that comes from a place of great integrity for our organization, and I protect that, the work. I'm a caretaker. So when you think of private business or you think of government employment at the end, you're going to have a PERS account and some wealth that you built up, and you'll have outstanding health care. That's a great benefit, and then that continues in perpetuity for many public employees. On the private sector, conversely, you work, and you build your brand and your business, and someday you have the opportunity to potentially sell, or you've harvested enough capital and profits. By the way, profit is not a bad word. Those of you in business, thank you for being a risk taker, and I hope you're obtaining profits. At the end of that process, you may sell or have brought in some revenue to be comfortable in your life. But nonprofit leaders, I will never own the Salem Chamber Nat. And upon my departure day or retirement, whatever that the board sees fit there, my job was that of a caretaker, to leave this organization in a stronger spot than when I arrived. That means financially sound, but community reputation. We were not invited to the table before in a previous iteration. And I will use a very concrete example. The city did a alternative revenue task force in 2017, I believe, 17 and 18, and the Salem Chamber was not invited to participate. Home builders at the table, Salem Health at the table. but the very business organization that many of the taxes were going to ultimately, we were not invited to the table. That, to me, that can't happen in a healthy ecosystem. So from day one, my role has been to partner with city, state, county leaders to say, we're here, we're at the table, we're respectful, and we're solution oriented. And thank you for hearing our voice, because we know we're but one voice. But thank you for listening to us and understanding our perspective.
AJ's ready to talk. I like, you know, where I want to go next.
Please take us a direction, because
Well,
I'm going to bounce.
I know. There's a few, before I go into my next direction, I kind of feel like asking you, like, what are the big sticking points right now in Salem that need to be discussed? Like we've discussed the chariots tax. We've discussed, homelessness, in the unhoused in downtown Salem, right? Like, those are two topics that we can go into, the chariots tax, but like, what are you hearing from your members now?
Yeah, I think a big thing that obviously a lot of noise is on the Chariots proposal right now. But I actually think, Nat, it circles back to a deeper conversation is what is the city of Salem and its residents' biggest concerns? It's not public transit. And they've shared that. It's homelessness. It's housing stock. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I am actually a very big advocate for chariots. I work very closely with Alan Pollock. What this tax, though, is putting 100% on the burden to the tune of $40 million potentially per year on the private sector in Salem and Kaiser. So that's a dynamic conversation that it would actually be fairly incomprehensible that the Salem Chamber wouldn't be in that fray. So we actually community build, and it's a 6-organization coalition that we partnered with, and to share the community's messaging on this. And I don't know what the outlook will be. I'm hopeful that we all come to the table and can have some sincere discussions about what this community needs. I think, there will definitely be a pressure point where ultimately say, how much are you going to give us? And we need to come to that kind of consensus as a business community, because we're the ones being asked to entirely bear that. So what value proposition are they bringing that's going to benefit your business and your business? And number 2, do we have the ability to pay for it? We are in Oregon, 48th most unfriendly place to do business, categorically some of the highest business regulations and tax structure. So we're a unique cloth that we choose to be here. So to me, if you are in a space where you are constantly facing further challenges to risk taking, let's rally together and let's be close. Does not mean we have to be in perfect agreement on all topics, but we need to rally around each other. So I am fiercely supporting local businesses. It is so easy to hop on Amazon and all these places to get your wares or to get your services. We have to intentionally choose to look to our fellow men and women who have chosen this city right here and keep these dollars spinning locally. That is a choice and a mindset, but it has to be a commitment. It has to be a commitment that we start with each other.
As I'm looking at the JCPenney, Salem Center, Forge, North Downtown, right? Do we do this mural project? How do we create positive pressure instead of focusing on the negative pressure? Because whatever you feed energy to grows. And how do we stop feeding the negative in these community conversations? So my goal would be, let's take the unhoused. Let's put words or sentences or things and just mark them green if you agree with it and mark them red if you don't. Let's find out what we agree on first, because I think we all agree we want to help them, the unhoused. I think we all agree that we could do better, and we just are arguing over how, right? I think in a lot of scenarios, regardless, we all agree we want to not just provide food and shelter, but provide a safe area in this town. So how do we focus there first on what we agree on, and then systemize this community conversation with bridge building. That's the SLF, Sam Skillern, right? How do we build commonality and bridges and help our community understand that Team Salem is just literally, how do we make it better for our children? How do we be good caretakers? How do we leave this place better than when we grabbed it? And, for us, we do the same thing we did 20 years ago. We just party our way out of it. Let's just get people together because, with the right amount of liquid courage and the right amount of people in the room, you can have a conversation.
Well, I don't even know you need the liquid courage. I think bringing somebody really wise in our chamber always says the most important diversity is actually the diversity of opinion. And so if that is in fact true, you're really not going to get into any really big movement changing discussions until you have all the players from the diverse voices across the board willing to commit to a bigger vision for your city. I think a frustration point, and we have to be extremely vulnerable and honest, is we have invested millions upon millions of dollars into homeless services, and very few residents see much change. Now, I know firsthand in speaking to Jimmy Jones and DJ Vincent, there have been a lot of lives changed, but the amount of need far outpaces current dollars. If we can, in this story, our villain is taxation, is social challenges, is economic challenges, regulations. But our hero is the same hero every time, and that is our members. That is our risk takers, those who have gone out in the world and said, I will create something and invest in something that someday I may or may not get a profit for. I certainly hope I do, but is going to create employment and opportunities for people that they may not have otherwise had. So the ingenuity, the innovation, and how rapidly things in the business environment are changing, somebody has to tell that story so it's not them. It looks pretty self-promoting when you go, hey, we're doing all these great things. So we get to walk alongside you. And we're a small organization. We're 10 staff people. We're not one of the larger nonprofits. But our messaging is about the very real people that are investing in this city. We don't use stock pictures. We are in those moments and storytelling for our community. And we have some really skilled people in that space, as you guys addressed in your last episode, who are telling this story like never before, because we don't have a TV station in Salem. We've got some, different reporting options, and then we have influencers, and it's all positive. It's inertia. Get to know your community, and imagine if this group takes on this group and this group takes on these and we take on a little. Think about how the community can learn about our businesses that are working here each day. Very real people choosing to take a risk and having an economic outcome if they do well. It's about our commitment again as community members. We need to be committed to helping people who are taking on those type of risks. And I love that about Salem, because it is about real people. And you see them, you're in grocery stores with them, you may be going to church with them, or you're watching a soccer game together with them. And it's an incredible place. I just wish more people believed that. And I hope to help them.
And the thing that drew me to Salem, and the reason that I am down here running a business, is because of the people like yourself and AJ and Ricardo and all these other business leaders who, have formed this great community and have this respect for what we're doing and enjoy being here, enjoy what we have to offer, with all the diversity of business. I love it. That's why I continue to keep coming back. And I love how big of a champion you are for this community. And I thank you so much for doing what you're doing, because you're lifting all of us up, and it's awesome. Sir. Yeah. And is there one thing, before we let you go, that you would ask of anybody listening who's in the community to engage with yourself or Salem Chamber?
Yeah, I mean, we're an incredible place, and we're nonpartisan. What binds our organization together and is the like-mindedness on one thing. Small business is healthy for Salem's community, and that is not a polarizing topic. So I encourage you to check us out. One important thing to understand is whether you're a member or not, our organization is working for you every day proudly. We'd love for you to be a member, but do not think I'm not pulling for you if you just aren't a member, because we don't know what all those businesses are going through. And I have had many times a business join that is notable in size that said, I would have joined earlier, Tom. I couldn't make payroll 2 weeks in a row, and it was that close to me losing this. So I'd like to reiterate, we'd love you to be a member of the chamber.
Yeah.
But if you are in business in this region in Salem, we are your biggest champion, because we know the risks that you're taking and we know what you're willing to take on. You always have a seat at our table, but the fact you're taking it on about a belief system that we believe deeply in, that's where we're your biggest fan. But it is healthy when we have people come on board and jump in, because it's statistically proven if you're a member of your local chamber of commerce, you have a higher percentage to be successful in business. And our Salem Chamber members are fiercely loyal to each other, fiercely loyal, because we're intentional and we teach it. Please, your first stop should be one of your fellow chamber members. That is very intentional in how we speak, because it's real. The dollars, when you hear our members talk about the transactions they've had together, and it's not always the really easy transactions. Who do you call when a pipe bursts in your basement?
Yep.
You don't need to type on a Google search and go find out. You just pull your Salem Chamber members and go, oh, I've got 8 local plumbers right here in the Salem Chamber. And what binds us together? We're chamber members, meaning we have incredible ethics, incredible integrity, and we stand for a brand that means I am pro-community. Yep. That is a healthy place to be a part of, and we want everybody to feel welcome when they're here. And again, even if you aren't, we're pulling for you big time.
I love it. Well, we're out of time. Tom, thank you so much for coming. The next time we chat, I really want to get into what I've heard about is your whiskey library. It's quite the big one here. So we'll chat next time. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, we're honored to. Thank you for being on. Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys very much.